Okay, here we go. So we're doing something fun today. I actually did some practice rounds with this. I do have some other examples of this, but I don't think I'm going to upload those. I think I'm going to start with this. So this is our boy, Wreck-It Mike. He's our team captain for the NBBCL. He drafted us. He drafted Pup. They're both still alive in the playoffs. Your boy, me, is out because I suck. But anyway, my boy Mike here is. This is a playoff game, and I figured we would commentate, we'd spectate. You know, this is an underrated feature I feel like of Pokemon Champions is that you can go ahead and actually spectate these matches. So we're going to spectate our boys' match. So looking at the teams, is Goki one of the guy who froze us with the Frostlass? Oh, Mike, come on, buddy. You got to get revenge for me. You got to get revenge for me, big guy. You got to get that revenge for me. The Frostlass is terrifying because I think I've learned. You know, if the next VGC draft league we join, we are 100% drafting Frostlass because I feel like that's like a 10% every time you attack, 10% with 2 procs per turn, right? Like to just get a freeze and like win the game. Now that's obviously not entirely true because Frostlass is not just an automatic win for. But anyway, I'm just salty. Anyway, let's go. We're rooting for our boy Mike here. As for I spent too long talking. I didn't do enough team analysis there. We'll try to do it as we get into the match here. So, Charizard Professor Wreck-It Mike, our boy, in the playoffs. He's going to lead with Whimsicott Orthworm. Okay, we have the opponent with that Frostlass and the Noivern. So, the interesting thing here, I wonder how much speed he has on the Orthworm, because he could have planned on Tailwinding into like Heavy Slam to just destroy Frostlass, but obviously he can't do that now because Goki also has a Tailwind Mon on his side. So he could still Heavy Slam though. There's nothing that threatens the Orthworm. So if I'm Mike, I think I try to do something to Frostlass. Now that being said, that means if I'm Goki, I probably switch something in that can take. I think that's got to be a Mega Camerupt. I'm actually not sure. I should have looked at the teams ahead of time. It depends on what Goki has in the back. I would try to bring in his. If Camerupt is not Mega, you switch that in potentially. If not, if you have the Araquanid in the back, I think you switch that in potentially. I find it very unlikely that he doesn't have either of those in the back. So we're going to go ahead and see what happens. Here comes the Mega Frostlass. That means he did not switch out. He could have protected. So we'll see what he goes for here. Here comes Frostlass's. We get a Protect on the Whimsicott. The snow generated from the Mega Frostlass. We're going to see a Tailwind. Yep, that's exactly what I was expecting out of the Noivern. And now, are you just going to attack? Well, we're going to see. We have to see what Frostlass is going to do. You're going to Reflect. A Reflect from the Mega Frostlass is not something you see very often. You are going to Heavy Slam right into the Frostlass. Not even. You're going to Heavy Slam into the Noivern. That's going to do very little damage thanks to that thanks to that Reflect. So now we're sitting here. Mike is in a really bad position now. My opponent. Goki has both the Tailwind and the Reflect. Mike is going to want to stall those out if he can. He already wasted a turn of Protect on Whimsicott. If he has the Focus Sash, he has the potential to try to get his own Tailwind. If he has, what could he have in the back that would be good here? I would be afraid he did. So I believe the snow makes the Hurricane less accurate. So Volcarona would be a great switch here from Mike if he has it in the back. Mega Gardevoir is also a demon, but he's going to need the Tailwind, and he needs the opponent to not have it. Ooh, the Prankster Encore. Great play by Mike. So now the Frostlass is a sitting duck. We're just going to see an Air Slash come out into the Whimsicott, who just lives raw, does not need any potential Focus Sashes. He's locked in Reflect. He can't do anything. And what is the Orthworm going to do? He's going to Shed Tail, which is not banned in a VGC league. In singles leagues, that is typically banned because it's just such a broken move. He's going to have a Citrus Berry to go with that, so that is a fantastic play by Mike. He's going to get something in behind a Substitute. Any of those Pokemon in the back, honestly, would be really good behind a sub. Look at that. Here comes the Mega Gardevoir. You already know. Mega Gardevoir's the GOAT. He does not have a Light Screen. He only has a Reflect, Goki. So now the tables have turned. Now I feel like Mike put himself in a very commanding position very quickly. So you have to expect that the Frostlass is going to switch out and not just sit there clicking Reflect as a sitting duck. As for the Noivern, we've seen Air Slash as its primary offensive move potentially. Likely doesn't have a way to hit Orthworm because you would imagine it would have tried to do that. There's only 2 turns remaining of Tailwind and 2 turns remaining of Snow. 3 turns remaining of Snow, excuse me. Yep, the Frostlass switch out is very obvious there. You're not going to sit there with your Mega as a sitting duck. Spinneret, this comes out. That's kind of what I was expecting earlier, and that's perhaps why Mike didn't do it. Gardevoir is just going to go ahead and get that Mega Evolution off. We're not going to see the Noivern switch out. Is the Noivern going to protect, maybe, to keep itself alive versus this double fairy? Nope, Whimsicott actually is the protect. Probably to stall out more Tailwind. I wonder Air Slash is going to come out. That's kind of what I was thinking. You have to break that sub. If you are Goki, you have to break that sub. Here comes a big Hyper Voice. There is no Light Screen. Man on the Moon, the Noivern goes down. First blood goes to our boy Wreckin' Mike. All right, sorry Goki, you're a good dude too. Nothing against you, Goki. Mike and I go way back. I'm a very biased commentator. That's anyway. So we've seen the knockout on the Noivern. So Mike is up. The Tailwind only has one turn left. Gardevoir is still sitting behind a substitute. This is still a very commanding position for Mike. He cannot protect versus the Frostlass to lock it into something again, though. So this is a turn where either you have to let the Whimsicott go, or you have to switch something in potentially. I think the Orthworm would be pretty safe if I was Mike. If I was Goki, I might try to double that. No, but you can't ignore the Mega Gardevoir. You cannot ignore Mega Gardevoir. So I think I'm expecting a Blizzard out of the Frostlass, and maybe a Water move into the Whimsicott slot, predicting the Orthworm to come back out. If I'm Mike, I'm thinking, honestly, I don't know, maybe Shadow Ball to try to hit the Frostlass. Oh, you're going to protect. Oh, are you going to click Tailwind? Is this going to be a Tailwind protect so that he can get the speed advantage next time? Wide Guard comes out. That's a great play by Goki. Doesn't work out for him because Mike went for the protect. Are we going to see the Tailwind? Mike does go for the Tailwind. So as Goki's Tailwind expires, we are going to see Mike with the speed advantage for the next few turns. Here comes that predictable Blizzard. Gardevoir is going to get to stay behind the substitute because of that protect. And now Mike gets a free switch into potentially Orthworm. I could also see something in the back coming out. Really a good question of what's going to come out here. So we're going to see leftovers on the Araquanid, which is a little bit surprising. But his Tailwind does peter out, as I had mentioned before, which means that now with Mike's Tailwind, Gardevoir is going to be the fastest thing on the field. Great protect by Mike there, because even though I was thinking maybe you could hit the Frostlass with a Shadow Ball if you have it, it still is probably worth it to keep that sub up while you get the speed advantage. I think that is definitely the right play. And now, though, you have the Orthworm here. We know that the Orthworm has Heavy Slam. We don't know, as I talked about in the first turn, if the Orthworm would outspeed the Frostlass under Tailwind. It's very possible that Mike built the team this way. There is one turn of Reflect still, so I would not expect Heavy Slam to one-shot the Frostlass. I don't know what if we knew what Goki had in the back, we might be able to better anticipate the play here, but he's, again, that Gardevoir being the fastest thing under Tailwind, it has a substitute up. We do have to worry about Mike does have to worry about the Wide Guard on the Araquanid also, though. I wonder if you have Thunderbolt coverage. I wonder if you have Shadow Ball coverage. We're going to have to see. 3 turns of Tailwind, 1 turn of Snow, 1 turn of Reflect. That 1 turn of Snow is awful, actually, for Goki. If I'm Goki, I would probably try to switch out the Frostlass here. We see a Mystical Fire come out. Be super effective and just knock out the Frostlass. Let's, what a move. Trying not to be super biased. Aqua Ring, interesting. That is not something you see every day, especially in VGC. Aqua Ring leftovers. Mike better have some kind of coverage for this thing, or else it might be a huge pain to take down. Although, if it's not outputting any damage, that is the problem with a set like that. If he's not outputting any damage or any threat to Mike, he can ignore the Araquanid while it sits there and recovers its own HP. Gardevoir still behind the substitute. Mike has the speed advantage because of the Tailwind. This is not looking very good for Goki. Looking great for our boy Mike. So at this stage in the game, it's a good question. I would think it depends on Gardevoir's coverage moves, because Gardevoir can get all kinds of coverage moves, right? Aura Sphere, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball. We have lots of options. We have even just regular Psychic Stab would hurt both of these Pokemon very much. So we have to see what he's going to go for. So I would expect Heavy Slam to come out into that Pokemon there, the Lycanroc. So good protect. Oh, there's no Wide Guard on a Hyper Voice. So Goki has realized that the Araquanid cannot just keep sitting there and being passive. As the Heavy Slam does come out into the Lycanroc, that makes plenty of sense. But unless this should break the sub on the Gardevoir, which is pretty big. I highly doubt that the Lycanroc can one-shot with Accelerock, the Gardevoir. Goki may need to try to stall out another couple turns to. I don't think he can though. One turn to Tailwind. I think Goki's best option here might be to try to get the double protect. Or you could go for a wide guard and hope that Mike just clicks Hyper Voice. You could hope for a choke. If you're Mike, I think you have to single target with the threat of that wide guard coming out from Araquanid. I think the Orthworm just spams into... Well, actually, we don't even know what Mike has in the back. Hold on. We don't know what Mike has in the back. A Shed Tail here would be actually fantastic because I don't think anything on this field is going to even worry about the Orthworm. You could Heavy Slam into the Lycanroc, or you could do that Shed Tail into whatever he has in the back. I think both plays are fantastic from Mike's perspective. Here comes the Wide Guard, so Mike needs to have not clicked the Hyper Voice. We'll find out here in a second. We see a Mystical Fire into the... That must be his only secondary attack. It must be that's his only secondary attack to try to break a potential Focus Sash is exactly what he's going for there. That Rock Slide does absolutely nothing to anything on Mike's team. What did the Orthworm go for? Heavy Slam comes out. That's going to knock out the Lycanroc almost certainly. There goes Lycanroc, and exactly what I was saying happened where the Araquanid isn't outputting enough damage to be a threat. So now, although it's got the leftovers, it's got the Aqua Ring, it's sitting there at very high amount of HP, it wasn't outputting quite enough damage to become enough of a threat, and now Mike could ignore it to the point that now it's a 3v1. So I do not see a way for Goki to come back here. I think Gardevoir just spams Hyper Voice because if Araquanid ever decides to click Wide Guard, it's going to have to take a hit from the other Pokemon. So if I'm Mike, you click Hyper Voice and you Shed Tail out to try to bring something else in. Rock Tomb comes out. Okay, I didn't know he had Rock Tomb, so that also makes perfect sense. This game is definitely over, looking like it's going to be a 3-0 in Mike's favor. Now, as you may or may not know, he gets the KO on the Gardevoir. That is not what I was expecting. The game is not over. It is very unlikely that he can pull it out, especially with that Rock Tomb on the Orthworm. Great tech by Mike there. So it's actually going to be a little bit closer than that. It's going to be looking like a 2-0 in Mike's favor. Very, very likely. We'll have to see what the last was. And he brought the Volcarona. That is kind of what I was expecting as well, because that makes a lot of sense into Goki's team. So this game will be wrapping up. But anyway, as I was trying to say before, I was unsuspectingly seeing a Gardevoir go down. VGC is a best of 3 in most VGC leagues, so this is only game 1. If you've been following me playing in the VGC leagues, that's all. This is the same league, right, as one of the ones we've been in. So they usually do best of 3. So Mike is going to go ahead and claim game 1 almost certainly. I suppose you could see a Rock Tomb Heat Wave miss if that's only coverage. We do see a Heat Wave miss. The Rock Tomb is going to come out and save the day for Mike, though. That got a little bit hairier than it needed to. Because if the Araquanid were to Liquidation and knock out the Volcarona, then Mike would have to also still land the... I don't know how Araquanid would have possibly broken through that Orthworm, but that is going to be game 1, and we will start up immediately here with game 2. The only thing I have to say about that, let's see, as the players are prepping for Game 2. Yep, there it is. We'll go ahead and click Spectate. And I will, as soon as I can see Goki's team again, I'll make some comments on whether or not, what adjustments Goki could potentially make. So the problem with that game was that Mike was able to get that big Shed Tail off into the Mega Gardevoir, and that was absolutely massive. There's not a lot on his team, Goki's team, that can handle that, except for the Camerupt. While we're sitting here, let me look up whether or not Goki has a Mega, if that's a Mega Camerupt or if that is a regular Camerupt. I will look that up right now. Where is Goki? We're looking for Goki's team. Where are the teams? Goki, yes, that is a Mega Camerupt. So I think the adjustment out of Goki has to be to bring the Camerupt. I know Frostlass has been his GOAT all season, but he really needs that Camerupt to pop off. And actually, if I'm looking at Mike's team, he has no water Pokemon. I don't know if anything's carrying water coverage. I don't know if anything on his team gets water coverage. I mean, maybe an Aqua Tail on Orthworm potentially. Can Crocodile get... Crocodile probably has Aqua Tail, actually. So maybe a specially defensive... yeah, if I'm Goki, you don't have Trick Room. There's nothing on your team. Does Frostlass get Trick Room? Let's see if Frostlass gets Trick Room. Let's go ahead and look at that. Let's go ahead and see. Does Frostlass get Trick Room? That would be a crazy, crazy, crazy set. It does not. So there's nothing that gets Trick Room to boost, to give Mega Camera Up that advantage. But Mike's whole team is very weak to that Mega Camera Up. So if I'm Goki, I think that's the biggest adjustment you have to make, is bring the Mega Camera Up. So here goes Mike with a Kangaskhan Orthworm lead this time. And here comes the Camera Up. Oh, he brought both Megas. He's just leading with both of his Megas. That is a great question now as to one of those Pokemon obviously doesn't get to use an item because one of them gets to Mega Evolve. The question is, if you're Goki, who are you going to Mega Evolve, and what are you going to do with the Frostlass? I suppose he does have Reflect on the Frostlass. We've seen that before. He could click Reflect here and try to give the extra bulk to Camera Up to make up for the fact that it's so slow. If you're Mike, you probably fake out the Camera Up and try to give a Shed Tail into potentially the Gardevoir, potentially the Volcarona, potentially even the Crocodile. Probably the Crocodile, based on the fact that the Camera Up is out. And I don't know that Gardevoir does not get a way to hit. There's no like Water Pulse. Actually, let's look. Well, we got a minute here. Let's look what we got a minute here. Gardevoir, do you get like a Water Pulse? I do not think you do. We're going to see a Protect from the Frostlass. That is not what I was expecting. Oh, Life Dew. Nope, that's the only Rain Dance. We got Fake Out into Camera Up. Makes sense. And Orthworm's going to Shed Tail. It's exactly what we were anticipating. I'm surprised to see the Protect on the Frostlass because it wasn't. Well, it was a little bit threatened because of the. It was a little bit threatened because Orthworm could, in theory, have just Heavy Slammed right into it out the gate, and we know it doesn't have a Focus Sash. However, if I'm Goki, I think the Fake Out into Camera Up makes a lot of sense. I think that the Reflect would have potentially helped you live that hit. So we're just going to go ahead and see the Mega Gardevoir get that substitute again. So we're looking at a very similar start here. Does Kangaskhan get a Water-type move? Because, again, I know that he's got that Mega Gardevoir behind the substitute, but I don't know how he breaks through, how he easily breaks through the Camera Up. Obviously, it's possible. Look at that. Kangaskhan gets Hydro Pump in this game. Is that the tech? Show me the tech, Mike. Show me the tech, big guy. He also gets Surf. I didn't know that he gets Surf. Show me the tech. Oh, we're going to see the tech, potentially. And it's if he does have the tech, it's going to go straight into that, into the Araquanid. We are going to see the Frostlass Mega Evolve. So Camera Up is going to be itemless. However, I do think that's the right play for Goki. I think that Frostlass has a lot of options here, and as a Mega, it's just so much more powerful, whereas the non-Mega Camera Up still feels like it can put in a bunch of work. So I agree with Goki's call there. You Mega the Frostlass, you keep Camera Up in the back, although I'm not sure that you'd put it in the back here. I'm interesting. Well, you scout. You're scouting maybe for the Water move on Kangaskhan. So Kangaskhan is going to take the Blizzard. Obviously, Gardevoir's substitute takes the other half of that. Hyper Voice is going to come out and do a ton of damage. Are we going to see a crunch into the Frostlass potentially? Double Edge! So there is no Hydro Pump tech, but there is a Double Edge into that is massive damage into the Araquanid, who's really on its last legs already. This is quite the opposite of last game where Mike ignored it. Now, to Mike's point, though, he didn't intentionally try and target the Araquanid. This was more of a situation where it was switched in on a slot that he was trying to hit with Double Edge. So now the problem for Mike is that his Gardevoir is actually slower than the Mega Frostlass, or it should be in theory. It might not be, but in theory it should be. So the question is, he can't just stay in and click Mystical Fire on it like he did last time. So you have to wonder if, I would imagine the Mega Gardevoir, because of the Trick Room threat of Mega Camera Up, probably has Imprisoned Trick Room, and that's why he doesn't have any other coverage moves. So he has to hope he can live. He is at full HP, so he can't Hyper Voice because he knows that the Araquanid's going to have Wide Guard. But that means that Frostlass is going to get the Blizzard off. If he double targets into the Frostlass, that could be bad for Frostlass. Mystical Fire does come out. He easily eats the Blizzard, and Mega Frostlass is going to go down. So Mike taking commanding lead once again with First Blood. Double Edge is going to come out and very likely KO this Araquanid. Mike is actually going to get both of the first two kills in the game 2, and now it is a 4v2 and a commanding lead. We know that Camera Up is in the back for Goki, who is going to be slower than both Kangaskhan and the Gardevoir, and in the back is going to be that Lycanroc. So Lycanroc Camera Up is a problem here. I can see Goki has a path out because he doesn't have... There's not a lot of Mike's team that can hit the Camera Up. Similarly, Lycanroc is going to outspeed the whole team. He could easily knock out the Kangaskhan. He could very likely knock out the Gardevoir. I highly doubt Mike has the Vacuum Wave, which is another move that Gardevoir can pack. I I'm not suspecting he has it because I'm guessing it's going to be an Imprisoned Trick Room set to block Trick Room going up, because that Camerupt and Trick Room would go straight through Mike's team, I'm telling you right now. So he needs Gardevoir to prevent that from happening. Of course, Goki did not bring a Trick Room setter, but it's possible that he has one on his team. Actually, let's take a look. On Goki's team, he does have an Oranguru, which is very much so a Pokemon that could set the Trick Room. It's not on the 6 that he brought today, but I am highly suspecting that Mike is having the Imprisoned Trick Room tech. So the Rock Slide comes out. That's going to KO the Kangaskhan, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Goki pulls back within 1 without sacrificing anything. But you know what could happen here? If Mike has the Whimsicott in the back, Whimsicott could click Tailwind and give Mike that speed advantage once again over the Lycanroc. But again, if it's Whimsicott, I'm not sure what's going to break through. I'm not sure what's going to break through that Camerupt. That Camerupt is a problem. Goki, despite coming out to the very, very bad first couple of turns, not that he made the wrong plays, I'm not trying to say that. I'm trying to say he had a rough start to this game. I think he has a path back because I don't know what's going to KO that Camerupt. And Camerupt has a good matchup into everything. It's going to resist the Hyper Voice. It's going to resist the Mystical Fire. You have super effective damage on both the Whimsicott and the Orthworm. That Camerupt is a problem for Mike right now. He does have Mystical Fire to potentially lower its special attack, though. So if he can, again, deal with the Lycanroc, he could potentially find a way to slowly chip down the Camerupt. We're going to see an Encore, and Mike may have just locked himself in. I completely forgot about it. I always do. Now that the Camerupt is locked into Protect, he has no way to switch back out. This game looks all but over, if you ask me. What was it that dodged? The Whimsicott dodged. That probably doesn't matter too much because I don't know how much damage it would have actually done to the Whimsicott. Obviously, chip is chip, as I always say, but this game is looking very, very much over at this point. I do not see what Goki could possibly do at this stage with the Camerupt locked into Protect and the Lycanroc really facing a 1v3 here. So, as we know, Camerupt is locked in. I'm surprised Mike is not. Maybe Mike is going to Protect. Nope, you're just going to Encore and lock that into Rock Slide. So he can't Protect and he can deal with it with the Orthworm. Rock Slide's going to come out. It does about 30%, so it could be down to 40%, but it's very important here to note that even if he had not missed, the Whimsicott would still be able to get one more. That Heavy Slam is going to destroy that thing, get it down to 1% health, down to that Focus Sash. And once again, I'm not really sure what Goki could even do at this stage to come back from this. You're locked in a Rock Slide, you're locked in a Protect. You don't even he can't even make any choices, right? If you're Mike, the Whimsicott should outspeed, even without Prankster, the Lycanroc. So if he has any kind of a Moonblast or a Giga Drain or an Energy Ball or something, you're just going to protect the Whimsicott. Maybe just trying to keep it alive as long as possible to Encore, keep himself alive to Encore the Camerupt. I just want to note, it's actually kind of funny that Camerupt just hit 3 Protects in a row. So this time, we're going to see a dodge onto the Orthworm. Pretty much his only way back was to flinch Mike all the way back, all the way home. That's not going to happen because he missed the second Rock Slide. It would have been extremely unlikely to Rock Slide through that Orthworm anyway, and we are more or less dealing with a formality here as Whimsicott can infinitely lock the Camerupt into Protect. I don't have anything to say really other than we're just going to have to watch a little bit of a slow burn here. Assuming that Mike does what he should do, which is lock in Goki infinitely to Protect with that Encore and go from there. We're going to see that Encore come out, so once again, he's locked into Protect. Is that going to come out now? It's going to fail because that would have been the 4th Protect in a row. Is Orthworm going to have any? Oh, Orthworm's going to Shed Tail out. Okay. So we know it's Gardevoir in the back. That makes sense because Gardevoir probably does the most damage. If Orthworm's only attacking move is Heavy Slam, you could assume something like Heavy Slam, Shed Tail, Protect. I don't know what the last would be. Maybe even Body Press, but I would imagine Gardevoir does a lot more, even with a resisted hit. Does a lot more to that Camerupt than Orthworm ever could. Part of me wants to just call it here because it is definitely over, but But we'll play it out. I suppose. Endeavor comes out, and that is how this game will not take 10 years. Whimsicott has the Endeavor. He's going to boost with Calm Mind, so he is not Imprisoned Trick Room, which is shocking to me. I wonder if Whimsicott has Taunt as the last move, because I feel as though the Orin Guru, without the Imprisoned Trick Room stuff from Gardevoir, if Goki had brought the Orin Guru with the Trick Room for the Mega Camerupt, that could have gone really crazy here. Potentially, Mike had a Crocodile set that could have dealt with it. Maybe he would have utilized the Volcarona a little bit more. This Camerupt just doesn't want to go down. This Camerupt is really, really fighting to his last breath. So that's a double. That is a double Protect. Now, I would imagine Goki does not want to sit here clicking Protect, so he'll click something like Heat Wave, and this game will end this turn on an Endeavor Hyper Voice, which both Pokemon should outspeed the Camerupt. There's no need to lock it in to Protect again. Oh, but he's making the safe play. To be fair, that is the safest play. The absolute safest play is to not let Goki do anything. And Protect is going to fail. We're going to see a Hyper Voice. How much will this do? At +1 from a Mega Gardevoir is going to do a lot. That is going to bring it down to 24%. We are going to have to see another turn of Protect before we see the end of this game. Oh. I'm very confused by that. I guess not. Goki could click whatever he wants. I guess if you're Mike, what do you just keep locking him in with Encore? I suppose that would be the safest thing to do. But you also know that, I was going to say, you also know that you outspeed with both of these Pokemon. Endeavor didn't affect... Oh, did he... I am very confused. Endeavor didn't affect the Camerupt somehow. Oh, because he had more HP. Did he Endeavor into his own Gardevoir, maybe? I missed that. Anyway, that game had a long time coming there. Mike is going to keep moving on. Hopefully I'll comment his next playoff game as well, and we will catch you guys in the next one. GG's to Goki and to Mike, and that was fun. Let me know if you like the commenting. If you like my, if that was, let me know how that, what you think. We'll catch you in the next one.